Hi folks, I'm James from pixelrefresh.com. Today, I've had a great day spending time with Tony Warriner, who is one of the co-founders of Revolution Software. So that's titles such as Love the Temptress, Beneath a Steel Sky, and the Broken Sword series. While spending time with him, we went through some of his retro collection, which is actually pretty vast. So let's not delay any further. Let's see what Tony has to show us. Well, thanks for joining me, Tony. Let's have a little wander down memory lane. And what have we got under here to have a look at?
All sorts of stuff, James. A Nintendo. In here, let me show you.
Just don't be afraid to pull things out. We're definitely like a close-up. So we've got a Super Nintendo.
A Super Nintendo, which should work. In here, even more.
Oh.
PSP.
Well, we saw a few of those at the market today, and they were actually fetching a fair price. £75-ish.
Oh, look, this one's got a box.
Has it got a PSP in it?
Has it got a PSP? I think it does.
Oh, very nice.
It's surprisingly clean. It's hardly been used. There you go, PSP.
I actually recently modded mine, changed the screen on it. The screen was only £12.
Really?
And it looks great, yeah.
Is it not extremely difficult to get inside it?
Getting inside is the easy part. The difficult bit is a very, 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 very tiny bit you need to patch or solder. That took me the longest bit.
Okay, that sounds a bit too scary for me.
It's not for the faint of heart, put it that way.
Alright, far more interesting than that is...
it's an Oric. Wow.
An Oric Atmos.
So why did the Oric Atmos appeal to you?
I always wanted one. In fact, I always wanted an Oric one. The Atmos is a slightly better version because it's a nice keyboard. There's a crazy keyboard on the Oric one. 6502, I think. I've never even switched that one. There's another Spectrum wannabe that just was too late, but not a bad machine.
It's amazing how many microcomputers of that time released and didn't quite make it.
Yeah, there was loads. It's like a dot-com bubble, you know. It's like everyone was doing it, and then it was like crypto. Everyone's doing it, and like only two companies survived. You know, it's exactly the same thing. I'll put that back properly later. Even more, another one from the same thing, Memotech Z80 based Spectrum market type competitor. I mean, it was a good machine, but way too late.
And next to it,
it's a Speccy Plus 3. I think it's probably not even mine. I think a friend of mine, Gareth Baker, he wrote a game on it, as denoted by the sticker. But somehow I have it, so fair enough.
And now it will stay.
Yeah, I don't know if it works. I'm sure it would do. Again, I've got no power supply and no leads for it, so as is often the case.
And by the time you brought those things, it can come to a little pretty penny itself.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Or something a little bit more modern sitting on top. You're not the biggest fan, are you?
I'm not the biggest fan, actually. And as far as I know, it's broken. It doesn't work anymore. I can't even make it.
I think if you sort the micro SD card, it'd be absolutely fine.
I don't know. But you would think it would. I mean, I can't even make it light up. I can't even make the lights come on or anything. Like, I don't know. As far as I know, it's got garlic sauce on it and it should boot up, but it doesn't do anything. I'm just through with it.
Fair enough. I actually really like it, but
everyone really likes it, apart from me.
It's alright. It's probably because you've got all this other stuff, including, when we're talking modern terms, you've got the ZX Spectrum next.
ZX Speccy, look underneath. Look at that.
Oh, hello.
BBC Micro. Even the sound of the keys.
That's when the mechanical keyboard was really mechanical.
It actually feels a bit dead. The sound is good. But there's just something totally exciting about that. Just seeing the logo again.
Yeah.
I mean, my school days, the last 2 years of school, we spent every lunchtime in a cupboard with one of these that was packed away. No one knew what to do with it, but we found it. And every lunchtime with our sandwiches, three of us sat and played on this thing. That's probably a big part of why I'm doing what I'm doing now, really, because we just grew up with these things.
Yeah, yeah.
But it was a very good machine, very well designed. A great version of BASIC on it, and of course it spawned one of the greatest games ever written, Elite.
How did I know you were going to say Elite?
You knew I was going to say it. I should never stop talking about Elite. Yeah, it'd be good to get it up and running one day. Have a go on it. 6502. We won't hold that against it.
Acorn in the glory years.
Yeah, it was a great machine, and there's quite a lot of them. Someone told me there's like they made like 3 million of them or something like that. It's not bad.
Not bad at all.
Well, I was asked to guess, and I would have said I was like how many? I don't know, 250,000, like 3 million. So, or maybe it's 6 million. Millions.
It sold enough that Acorn was in business for a while, and Clive Sinclair wasn't best happy about the arrangement with the BBC, but still.
No, he wanted that. He wanted that gig, didn't he?
He certainly did.
I think it all culminated in a fight in a pub in Oxford.
So the story goes.
And what was it, Cambridge, I think.
So what can you tell me about this more modern thing, which actually looks more like an 8-bit thing, but is definitely modern? The ZX Spectrum next.
Yeah, very nice, very nice. This is a Kickstarter 1, original Spectrum next. Very nice thing. Very nice thing, and of course that all important HDMI port on the back.
Although it says digital video, I wonder if that's some licensing thing.
It could be, couldn't it? Could be, yeah. 9 volts, centre positive, as we've just learned.
Yeah.
James has just taught me about 9-volt power supplies.
And positives and negatives.
Yeah, there's pluses and minuses in all of these things. Isn't there?
Absolutely. Pun intended.
Yeah. But yeah, this is a fabulous machine, which I'm hopefully now writing a game for, with Stu Cambridge of Sensible Soccer and Cannon Fodder fame.
All right, so Stu Cambridge is going to be the artwork guy, I imagine.
He is, yeah. So this is my test machine.
So is this from the first Kickstarter?
It's from the first Kickstarter, yeah. Great.
So what made you go for it then? Because if it's the first Kickstarter, it would have been...
there was just a lot of
fun.
There was a lot of excitement. It promised a lot, and in some ways, no one quite believed it. It looked too good to be true, but just the look of it, I mean, it really was what you would have wanted. If you went back to the late 80s, and said, "What's the next Spectrum going to be?" If the Spectrum continued as a platform, what would the next Spectrum have been? And that is it. The spec on this thing, and the way it looks and feels and everything about it, it's just so good. It's exactly what you would have wanted. So I think anyone who still loves the Spectrum just was like, "Yeah, I'll go in on that," And I think they had quite a difficult time making them, because it's all new and an extremely complicated thing to do, building a new computer from nothing, But they did it, and here it is. It's a lovely thing. Then they did another Kickstarter, which then got caught up in the middle of the semiconductor shortages during COVID and all that. But they got there in the end. And I guess at some point there'll be another batch, Kickstarter 3. There'll be even more machines. But yeah, a lovely, lovely thing.
It looks nice.
Yeah.
Even the box looks very nice too.
Well, this is the thing, man. Everything about it is perfect. I mean, the box is absolutely lovely. Because a lot of these machines back in the day, they had really flimsy boxes that haven't survived. So you don't see the boxes as much for some machines.
Oh, hello.
There's the cat. Cat loves it too.
Every retro basement needs a retro cat.
But here's an interesting thing. This here, that is also a Spectrum next.
That's a little bit different. You'll have to explain this one.
It's called an xBerry Pi, and it's nothing to do with the Raspberry Pi whatsoever, apart from its form factor. It's very similar. But this is exactly the same as that, in that you can, it is a Spectrum next. You can plug your keyboard into it, and you can plug it into HDMI and play Spectrum games and program them and all the rest of it. So functionally, it's exactly the same as that one, really. Nice thing.
Yeah, definitely. FPGA.
Yeah. Actually, This is what a crazy person I am. Let me show you this. I think this is the right box.
Oh, hello.
That is also a Spectrum Next.
What?
Yeah, look.
Okay, this is a bit more obvious from the back.
Yeah.
With the digital video port, cough cough.
Yep. That is also exactly the same thing. Because anyone can make them, it's open source, so there's all sorts of things. All sorts of different people making. I can't remember the name of these now.
So what's with the port on the front?
It's joystick ports.
Ah, joystick.
Yeah. Back in the day on Spectrum, you had to buy a third-party, like a Kempston port, it was called, or some other one. So the joysticks were like via a dongle. What else we had got?
Well, we should look at your new bargain find at some point, but what we've got here first.
We have a Mega Drive, which I believe doesn't work, but actually might. Now that you've taught me about
Positive and negative.
and negative power supplies, but amusingly, I've just bought as a replacement one that does work, hopefully, for £15.
And we can prove this because look, it's still got the label and a big fat sale sign.
It still says £15, doesn't it?
Yeah, needs a bit of a clean. It's missing the cover, which you could actually 3D print and replace. So if it works, and this is your office.
Yeah. That's my so I'm like split everything because Amiga programming and Next program it's easier on Windows, to be honest. It's good to split across two machines. So I have it is a minis forum, nice little Razion thing. It's pretty good. Hot from China. Works well though.
And your Steam Deck, which you love very much.
I do love my Steam Deck. Give it a little slow. And that's going to program port my Wormhole Dungeon game onto that, and maybe other things as well.
Now this has got to be a bit special for you.
Yep, that's the original artwork of Obsidian.
That's a game you did for the Amstrad CPC 464.
Back in '85, first one ever got published.
And that's the one you sent to basically Charles's Arctic Games. Arctic Games.
That went to Arctic, who were local really. They were based in a village near Hull, so they were not far away. They were like 15 miles from where I lived, which is really why I sent it there, because I hadn't thought about sending it there. And my mother found them in the Yellow Pages and said, "Send it to these people." And I was like, "Yeah, why?" And anyway, if I hadn't, there'd be no revolution. No Broken Sword. Well, there might be in a parallel universe or something else, a slightly different game with different people. Who knows? It
wouldn't be the same without it.
Well, you blow your mind thinking about these things. You know, if
this didn't happen and that didn't happen.
Yeah, if my mum hadn't looked in the Yellow Pages and found Arctic, then I wouldn't have met Charles, and Charles wouldn't have said later on, "Let's form an adventure company." Like, it would have all been slightly different, wouldn't it?
Very much so.
You can't work it out. It's impossible to work out. But the world would have been slightly different. So there might not have been a Broken Sword. Unless Charles was always thinking of doing Broken Sword, even before Arctic, but I suspect he wasn't. And it probably came from the Temptress and Steel Sky. So
now let's stay on that Obsidian wavelength for a moment, because over here you've got a few copies of this.
Yeah, well, this is 4 deep, so there's quite a lot in there.
So really, it shouldn't be Obsidian; it should be more Obsession.
Yeah, but even now, I'm bidding on another one on eBay. So.
Of course you are.
Yeah. But it has been over a year since one came up for sale, so when they do come up.
Well, they're rare because you've got most of them.
I know there must have been. I reckon there's about 6,000 they made. They never actually told me how many they made. I think there's like 6,000, so I've only got 50 of them. So there's a lot to go yet. There's a lot.
Well, the ones that survive.
They all must return. A Revolution backup disc.
What's likely to be in that? This will focus.
In Cold Blood, probably. It says ICB. Projects, general projects. Bit of source in there. If it works. Like who?
Yeah, have you got actually anything that would put it into test if it works?
Who has got a working Tandberg backup drive to read that?
I'll await the comments.
Not me, that's for certain.
And just above your head there, Tony, we've got GBA Brighton's Sword.
Yep, in nice acrylic cases. Made by a guy called Byron on Facebook. Sent me those.
Very nice.
Yeah. Bring a solidified chest. Not many of those around.
Okay, let me just quickly come around.
That's the ice cream van.
Yes.
You probably ever seen one of these, James? A Psion 5.
Okay. I've seen earlier models.
A Psion 5.
I've got the 3.
Oh,
well,
right.
a clone of the 3,
Right.
but it's an Acorn branded one, which is the only reason I brought it. It was Acorn.
You know all about it then.
So why have you got one? Is this something you would have brought at the time to use, or is this something you've collected?
I did buy it at the time, yeah. We thought it was going to be the best thing ever, and it sort of was.
For a while.
But look at that, look at the keyboard. It looks really good, doesn't it?
It really does look the part.
Looks really good.
Feels great.
And you could get your email on it. You could get, if you had a phone with an infrared port on it.
The only way to do data transfer in those days.
Yeah, you could transfer. See that? That's the infrared, and you could tie it up, and then you could somehow configure it so that it would dial into a server and retrieve pop mail. It was really hard to do. I did actually get it working. And once on holiday, I used it to get my Revolution emails, which is probably the last thing I wanted when I was on holiday.
So did that actually become a useful companion for a little while?
For a very short time, yeah. Yeah. And of course, it was the downfall of Psion. I don't think they survived much longer than that, because things were moving much too quickly, and they were too small.
And of course, mobile phones came along and killed most things off.
They did, yeah. What else have we got? Oh, yeah, my first ever computer. Camputers Lynx. Cam as in Cambridge, where all these things were back in the day. It should still work. Yeah, it should still work.
Oh, RGB. That's always good news.
Yeah, serial ports. Yeah, it was kind of an interesting machine. I mean, it was a Spectrum compressor, but it was a bit flawed in some ways. It wasn't very good for games because its screen update was very slow, something like that. But it was extremely good for learning how to program Z80 because it had a built-in sort of a hex monitor thing, which made it easy to type hex codes in and things. So it was a good learning machine, but it was sadly doomed.
Right, that's one many.
As were so many, yeah. But serial number 7000, so there must have been a few of them. But yeah, I think they lasted. It came out and they lasted a couple of years, something like that.
Oh dear.
But I still have mine.
Yeah, very nice.
And
Can't see many of those.
You don't see many of those, and they're quite a lot of money on eBay now. I mean, I'd love a box one. Yeah, talking of cases, I mean, this came in a box that was just, it almost ripped when you it was like it was like that. It had a box like that around the sleeve. It had a sleeve effectively around the box, and it almost ripped the first time you opened it. So the chances of one of those surviving long, so you don't really see them now.
And an iMac right in the corner.
Yeah, an iMac, which I think doesn't quite boot. It's not mine. Someone gave it to me.
Mm-hmm. Well, then it's yours.
Yeah,
That's how it works.
It wasn't mine, as in I didn't buy it new. Someone gave it to me, and there it is. And there's the funny little mouse thing for it.
Yeah, that's probably a nicer design than the newer one.
Probably is, yeah. But Steve Jobs did a good job with that. I mean, it was a good machine.
Johnny Ive may have something to say about that.
He did that as well, didn't he?
Well, that's probably one of the computers that saved Apple.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
What else have we got around this side?
There's a big pile of Dreamcasts down there.
3 Dreamcasts when one isn't enough.
3 Dreamcasts.
To go with your 2 Mega Drives.
A load of, absolutely loads of the controllers and stuff. But Dreamcast is good. We might still do, we might port Wormhole onto Dreamcast one day. Because it's basically a PC. quite a powerful PC. Although someone said it won't do shaders, so the lighting won't be as good. But
we'll find out.
I think there's an Xbox 360 there.
Oh yeah, at the back.
And another
Xbox One,
yeah.
the original, that would have come with the Kinect.
Yeah, and a PlayStation 1. PlayStation, what a great machine.
It was.
Well, it did for adventure games. Unfortunately, it's quite a pivotal machine because a lot of it was, in effect, it was the end of the Amiga. It was the end of home computers. It was also the end of adventure games because everybody switched to, basically Tomb Raider. Tomb Raider took the place of Broken Sword, and it was all facilitated by this machine. So if you're writing a history of video games, this machine is pivotal. I don't hate it for that. You see where it sits in history is part of a shift from home computers to consoles. It's shifted back again now, I think.
Yeah, and 2D to 3D, of course.
2D to 3D, of course. And, yeah, and then it was all polygons. You have to be doing polygons, otherwise the magazines would kick you.
Indeed.
Where it hurts.
Some random paraphernalia.
Random stuff. Piles of magazines. 80s magazines.
PlayStation 2 vertical stand. Your computer with a monkey on the front.
Yep. I think is that an Oric one?
1984, that.
Yep. A good age. These mags are actually very interesting to read now because you can see if you read a year's worth of one magazine, you see the changes. In a year, in the 80s, the computers that were at the start of 1983 and the computers that were at the end of 1983 were coming on leaps and bounds. It's very interesting to look at.
45p.
45p every week as well, and there were several. There were lots of these things.
Robots on the Move, retest the Zika.
Yeah. Really interesting stuff. There were so many machines, you wouldn't believe it. Machines they're always like websites, There's so many.
Well, pre-internet, this is what we had. This is how we got our information and news. So a weekly magazine would have been quite helpful because things move very quick.
Yeah. There's no internet, you see, so there was a market for news, and you didn't get it from anywhere else but print. What else have we got? That's my original Amstrad CPC 464, which Obsidian was written on, along with a floppy disk drive which made it all bearable. And then later there was this one, 6128, which replaced the cassette there was replaced for a disk drive there, and it made it into a radically different machine. And that's the works. In fact, yeah, I fixed it because it was broken, but I fixed the keyboard and fixed the floppy drive on it, and it works again now. Which is jolly nice.
And going down, an Amiga A500 Mini.
Yeah, a lovely Amiga.
Box PlayStation 2. Oh, Atari Jaguar. Look at that one there.
Atari Jaguar, yeah. Which I bought to play Tempest 2000, Jeff Minter. And I did play it. And I found that you could cheat on it. All you had to do was stand in one place and fire, and you could win every level. And I wrote to Jeff Minter and said, "Do you know this?" And he said, "Yeah." And that's the only time I've spoken to Jeff Minter, but telling his game had a huge flaw, which I feel bad about, but there you go. And a boxed Spectrum and a boxed ZX81. And over there, an Enterprise 64, which was yet another computer that came out in that post-Spectrum era, which was going to be, it was going to be the next big thing, and it would have been if it had been 2-3 years earlier. It was like a dream machine because it had loads of colours and loads of memory and a nice keyboard and all sorts of stuff. It was like a dream. Everyone wanted one. And then it came out and it promptly went bust straight after. Okay, in a box. Obsolescence built out, so it'll last forever.
Mm-hmm. That's an ironic statement, given the history.
There you go. The look of it, just the look of it's so nice. a little joystick, which was useless. Nice coloured. But you see a familiarity actually if you look at. You see how the colours on copied almost to the letter by.
Yeah, the blue, greens, and the red definitely. I mean, there's a red escape key on that one.
Yeah, and there's a reason for that. I think. I mean, everyone dreamt of this machine, and then it never quite turned out. But loads of ports on the back.
So did you get this in the time, or?
No, I bought this much more. I mean, probably a decade ago, but it's an eBay thing. Is this one?
So why was the joystick useless? Just in the design, or?
I think probably the whole machine shifted when you pressed it, and you kind of don't want a joystick there. You want a joystick in your hand, don't you?
Yeah.
So I doubt it was used very much, but it was a nice idea, and aesthetically it looks nice. You know, right? It kind of has a certain flow to it. The design.
And what's this gaping hole here?
I guess it's a cartridge port. I mean, I think there were disk drives for it at one point, and also, oh look, yeah,
cartridge ROM up to 64K.
Yeah, RAM expandable to 3.9 megabytes. Goodness me.
It's got a built-in word processor.
Yeah. Oh look, so yeah, this is the basic operating system. I don't want to push it. Oh,
there you go.
Yeah. So there you go. That's where the basic comes from. I guess that makes sense, because if you didn't like basic, you could pull it out and make it do something else, Pascal or something. But anyway, this works. It's not been switched on for a while, but it works, this machine. Nice manual and it's plastic stuff.
And that's a sizable manual as well.
Yeah. One day I'll plug it in and take a proper look at it.
I'm driving over that day, just get my advance booking in. So I've got a Macintosh SE.
Yeah, that's a Revolution machine, which somehow I ended up with. It might even be the one that we wrote the original story for Beneath a Steel Sky on in Wales. We used to take it. And the thing about those was that they were actually carryable. You know, you could pick them up and move them around.
And next to that, a colour monitor for the Amstrad.
Yeah, it's an Amstrad monitor.
Still works?
Yeah, I think the power out for the hard disk, for the floppy disk doesn't work, but
that's a small thing, and given its age, 40 years.
Yeah.
Well, thanks very much, Tony, for showing us around. It's been a pleasure.
There you go. Hope you enjoyed it.